The last part, which is infertility, it is an important part to discuss in reproductive health. Large number of couples in the world, throughout the world, even in India, including India, are infertile. So infertile is nothing but they are unable to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation. So that is, in spite of this unprotected sex, if they are not able to produce children, we can say it as infertile or infertility. And the reason behind it is many. It is not just one or two reasons. There are many reasons for infertility, and few common reasons are physical, congenital. Congenital is nothing but these are physical abnormalities which can be present from the birth of the male or the female. These disorders can be there, so which can even lead to infertility. Then through any diseases, infertility can happen, or through drugs, infertility can happen. Then immunological or even psychological problems, infertility can happen, right? So there are many reasons for infertility in couples. In India, often the women are blamed for the couple being childless, but more often that is not correct. The problem lies in the male partner in the case of India. So specialized healthcare units like infertility clinics will help in diagnosing and corrective treatment. If it is given properly to the couple, some of these disorders will be can be corrected, and the couples will be able to reproduce young ones, right? Or they can have children. However, where such corrections are not possible, couples have to go through some certain special techniques to get fertilized, right? So these certain special techniques are called as, they are commonly known as assisted reproductive technologies, or ART, right? So these disorders can be treated in infertility clinics using assisted reproductive technologies. And these disorders, if it is very minor, it can be corrected faster and they can have children. And if doctors say that it has to be treated for a longer period of time, they have to go on with this assisted reproductive technologies, right? So let us see what is this ART, or assisted reproductive technologies. So these are nothing but these are technologies used to correct the infertility problems. So there are different types of this ART technologies which is happening in the couples, which can be done on the couples. In that, let us see the first one, which is the in vitro fertilization. So it is very common. This is the first method of assisted reproductive technology, that is in vitro fertilization, which is also called as IVF, test tube baby program, right? So in this, fertilization will happen outside the body, almost similar conditions as that in the body. Okay, so in this method, the ova from the wife or the donor and the sperm from the husband or the donor are collected and are induced to form zygote under stimulated conditions in the laboratory. And these laboratory will have the condition which is needed for the sperm and the ova to get fertilized. Okay, so it will have the body condition. Okay, it will have a condition which is similar to that of the body, and following which the embryo transfer will happen, that is ET will happen. Okay, and this is one of the very popular method which is known as the test tube baby program, right? So in vitro fertilization means fertilization happen outside the body in a condition almost similar to that of the body, and it is followed by embryo transfer in one of such method. In this method, as I said, the ova from the female, that is, it can be wife or a donor. Donor is some other person who wills to donate the egg, and the sperm from the husband or the male donor are collected, and it is induced to form zygote under stimulated condition in the laboratory. And the zygote or the early embryos with about 8 blastomeres would then be transferred into the fallopian tube, that is gift, GIFT, Okay, now let us see about the various technologies which is used in this art. So in the first technology which is used to correct the infertility problem, most common technology is the in vitro fertilization, which is also called as IVF or test tube baby program. In this method, in vitro fertilization means fertilization is done outside the body, and it will have a condition which is similar to that of the body, following which the embryo transfer will happen. So in this method, the ova from the wife or the donor. So wife or donor here means if a woman is not capable of producing egg, so in that case a donor can be chosen. Donor means another woman can be chosen to donate the egg. And same thing happens with male also. The sperms from the husband or the donor are collected and are induced to form zygote. You can see here. So collection of egg happens from female and the male, and by some stimulated hormone therapy, they carry out this fertilization process externally. So this happens externally, right? And this is followed by, once the zygote has been formed, it will be kept under the laboratory condition until it reaches a certain period of the growth, and then it is followed by embryo transfer. Then it will be transferred into the female's body, and this happens in two ways. So types of embryo transfer, there are two types of embryo transfer. One is zygote intrafallopian transfer and the other one is intrauterine transfer. So let us learn about this in detail. Zygote intrafallopian transfer and intrauterine transfer. Let us see that, right? So first, if you take the case of the zygote intrafallopian transfer, here transfer of zygote or early embryos with up to 8 blastomeres into fallopian tube is given. Okay, so transfer, so they have formed the zygote, and these zygote will develop, and when the embryos form 8 group of cells which are called as blastomeres, that time the zygote is transferred into the fallopian tube directly. Okay, so once it is transformed into the fallopian tube, slowly it will start again dividing and it moves down to the uterus and it gets implanted, right? So this method is called as GIFT, which is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Okay, and the other method, which is called as intrauterine transfer or IUT, here transfer of embryos with more than 8 blastomeres into the uterus happens. So here they transferred the zygote or the early embryo with 8 cells, that is the 8 blastomeres were transferred into fallopian tube, and here this transfer of embryo with more than 8 blastomeres will be done into the uterus directly. Okay, from uterus it will start implanting and it will slowly grow into fetus, right? So